So, welcome back to part 3 and the final part of this book. I'm so sorry if you hear some outside noise. That's out of my control. But anyway, chapter 5, A Surprise Solution. After school that day, Hello Kitty and her friends stood together and looked down at the magazine. Everyone had written their articles just as they had promised. The magazine was looking good, but still Hello Kitty thought that it needed something more. But what was it? She flipped through the pages. There was the jeans makeover and the recipe for the hair treatment and all of Fifi's doodles and designs. Tammy had finished the puzzles and poetry pages, and dear Daniel had typed up an article on sports. Right at the centre was the article on the farm park. That looked brilliant with all of the pictures, but why didn't it look quite right? Hello Kitty fanned the pages out again, and then she realised what it was. It just wasn't thick enough. What did the others think? Tammy thought that it looked great as it was, but Fifi and dear Daniel agreed with Hello Kitty. Still, there wasn't really time to do anything about it. The magazine had to be in by tomorrow, so Miss Davy would have enough time to photocopy it to pass it around the school. It would have to do. At that moment, there was a knock at the door. Hello Kitty turned to see it was Mama standing in the doorway. Her elbow caught on the edge of the glass of the water that was sitting on the tabletop. It was as though everything then happened in slow motion. Oh no. Water fell and Hello Kitty spun round to catch it, but it was a moment too late. Disaster. Water spilled all over the magazine. Oh no. What had she gone and done? It was all her fault. The magazine was ruined, and after all their hard work. Quick as a flash, Mama grabbed the magazine and brushed the water off, but it was completely soaked through. It really was ruined. Hello Kitty felt really upset. What could they do? Just have to tell Miss Davy that they hadn't been able to do the magazine after all. She'd worked so hard. They all had. It wasn't fair. Tammy looked like she was going to cry, and Fifi slumped down in a chair. Sorry. Dear Daniel took a deep breath and stepped forward. They couldn't give up now, not after all the effort they had put in. They would just have to work extra hard and do it all over again. It shouldn't be that difficult. They had the articles on the farm park, the jeans makeup, and his sports page all on the computer. They could print those off again. And he was sure that Fifi and Tammy could write out the puzzle and poetry again and do the doodles and designs again, couldn't they? Fifi and Tammy nodded. They would work as hard as they could to get it done. Hello Kitty was almost in tears. They just didn't have time. Their parents were about to collect them at any moment. Mama put her arms around her daughter and whispered that she thought she might have an idea. How about they turn the evening into the magazine sleepover? She knew that it was a school night, but if the other mums and dads agreed, they could all stay over and work to get it done before they went to bed. Mama Wright thought she might be able to persuade the parents just this once, that it would be okay. Hello Kitty gave her a small smile, and Mama quickly disappeared off to phone them. Once she had left the room, the Friendship Club got straight to work. There wasn't a moment to waste. Dear Daniel and Hello Kitty ran to the computer, and Fifi started drawing again. Suddenly, Tammy gasped. Mama's White's idea of the magazine sleepover had just given her an idea. They had thought the magazine was looking a bit thin, so how about they added another article, a sleepover article on how to have different types of stylish sleepovers. That would make it look thicker. Fantastic. The others all loved the idea. Fifi jumped in. They could put in sleepover games that might like to play. Dear Daniel said that they could add a list of films to watch for different types of sleepovers, and Tammy offered to write down some of the stories she had made up for their sleepovers in the past. She could also write a list of her favourite books about sleepovers, and Hello Kitty came up with the idea of designing some sleepover arts and crafts activity like decorating a photo frame or a pencil holder. There was so much they could write, and of course they had to have an articles on way to decorate your bedroom for a sleepover too. They all set to work. They were so busy that they nearly didn't hear Mama White come back into the room. She had a big smile on her face as she told them that all of the parents had agreed and that they said they would bring round everyone's night clothes and toothbrushes. Hooray! The Friendship Club let out a loud cheer. They told Mama White about the extra articles they were putting into the magazine. Mama smiled and suggested that they added a page on sleepover snacks too, and sleepover music to listen to. Minnie chipped in behind her. She wouldn't mind helping with that and anything else that they needed doing. Hello Kitty smiled. Now that the magazine would have lots more articles in it, it would be even better than it had been before. She couldn't believe it, but she actually felt glad the first copy had been spoiled. Mama smiled again and told them it all reminded her of one of her favourite sayings. Every cloud has a silver lining. All too soon it was bedtime. Hello Kitty snuggled down under her duvet while the others settled all around her in their sleeping bags. The finished magazine was on the table, ready for tomorrow. Hello Kitty sighed. She could sleep happily now that she knew the magazine could be given to Miss Davy the very next day. But now it was time to turn a light out and listen to one of Tammy's brilliant bedtime stories. Chapter 6. Fun and Friendship. At school the next morning, Miss Davy smiled widely as she fumbled her way through the finished magazine. She thought it was wonderful how they had managed to think of it all. She loved all the articles, especially the one on customizing your jeans, and the puzzle page looked great. And the article on Bramble Farm Park was lovely. It was sure to create lots of publicity for the farm so that they would have more visitors and be able to look after more animals. The sports page and poetry page were wonderful too. But most of all, she loved the article on sleepovers. Sleepovers had been her favourite thing to do with her friends when she was a child. The Friendship Club all beamed with pride. How super was that? Miss Davy announced that she was going to rush off and run it through the photocopier so that they could pass it around the school as soon as possible. She couldn't wait to show it to everyone. Tammy, Fifi, Dear Daniel, and Hello Kitty could hardly sit still in class that afternoon. The magazine had been given out just before lunchtime, and it was all that everyone in school was talking about. How brilliant it was, and how much fun it must have been to make. Everywhere that Hello Kitty looked, people seemed to be reading it and talking about having their own sleepovers and going to the farm park. All of the Friendship Club's work had been worth it. Hello Kitty turned to her friends. Who would have thought they could have done it, and that it would all turn out right in the end? She grinned. Dear Daniel definitely grinned back at her. All the hard work had definitely been worth it. Tammy linked arms with Fifi and they ran out into the playground. Dear Daniel gave a quick wave to Hello Kitty and even went to join them. As they played outside in the sun, Hello Kitty looked across at her friends. She realized it was about time for another friendship club motto, and she had just thought of the perfect one. Good friends make even hard work fun. It was just right, and she couldn't wait to tell the others, smiling happily. Hello Kitty followed her friends out into the sun. The end.